drive last night was just insane. It was a coastal road with so many twists and turns. It's interesting, the Model 3 for those kind of twisty roads, it's not, it's a really heavy car, but it's also a really grippy car. And then you have that insane punch as you come out of every corner that you're not going to get. I mean, you are going to get from a gasoline car, but you would have to stay in gear in band. So you'd have to be in your power band in the right gear, and then you'd come off and then punch out. So it's like that, but you don't have to, all through the speed ranges, you've always got that punch. And it makes that kind of stuff just wild. I think I made myself motion sick. I was having too much fun. Okay, number one, the views, but don't get distracted because number two, the road. And so, just this car's ability to just punch out the corners. Sorry, but I kind of need two hands for this. Oh my. What a thing. Thank you, Elon. So there was just miles and miles of this yesterday. Just absolutely tons of it. And it was late at night, there was no other traffic around. I couldn't see the view, so it was just me and this kind of road. And it went on and on and on. I mean, it's still going this morning. And so it got to the point at around 9 o'clock. I think my sleep patterns have shifted to Central Time. So it got to the point around 9 o'clock Pacific Time where I'm too tired to have to do this. So I bailed at the motel, which was fine. Yeah. The stuff you can do with this drivetrain is just bonkers. It's bonkers. It is bonkers. Yeah, I'm having to hold these cameras down. I might need some glue. Smell of the sea salt. Kind of heading inland now. I'm just taking a last kind of deep breath of the California coastline. I don't know if I'm going to stay on the coast because it obviously isn't quite as quick, but then I'm not in that much of a hurry. If you look at the map of superchargers, you can see that there are just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And I don't need to hit any of them. This isn't a case of I have to hit every supercharger I can find. I am passing by hundreds of them. And California is obviously where Teslas are built. It's the first one to get the superchargers. It's the one with probably the most Teslas. And so Tesla has put in the investment. But what it shows is a future in which when the charging network is this dense, you don't need to plan. You just drive. And within 30, 40 miles, there will be a charging station. And so you can start to approach it and use it just as you would a gasoline car, where you just drive. It's bright. Corning, California. Tesla superchargers. A Starbucks, a Little Caesars, and a Subway. So I gotta pick a place for lunch. I got 40 minutes here, and then I'm on, and then it'll be Grants Pass, Oregon. But there is more. The Subway's over the road. I'm gonna have to walk. All right, so Subway, 6-inch sandwich. Not doing a foot long, not today. And grab a coffee. and I got a cookie from Subway, which I will be consuming. So that was kind of a perfect example of you don't have to do it Tesla's way. The route planner wanted me to wait for another 10 minutes to top off the charge, but the charge was getting pretty slow at that point. And there's 2 superchargers that we would be whizzing past because it's trying to minimize your stops. But actually I like stopping more often. So I just go and then I just change the supercharger that it's going to use. Maybe you ask it to replot the route. And away you go. And it's up to you. You can do however you want to do it. If you want to sit in the car, I think it was going to be 3 hours. I'd rather, I think, an hour and 30 and I'll be ready for another little break. Anyway, it's not rigid. When you see those plans come out from the Tesla map, don't assume that you have to follow exactly that. You click on the bottom right and you'll see the supercharger icon, and then you just choose a new supercharger. So as we head towards the northernmost parts of California, we leave the apple orchards behind and start to get into the foothills of, I guess, the Rockies. And we're starting to see some hills and woods, and we've hopefully got some more interesting scenery coming up in a bit. I'm feeling great. That was actually it was nice to take a sit down at Subway. I didn't bring it back to the car. I just ate it there. You got constant communication with the car and the phone, so you can track how the charging's going. I just ate the cookie. And yeah, smooth sailing. Just nothing to report. Man drives car. That's the summary of today's episode. The bright sunlight. So, Mount Shasta supercharger. I'm glad I picked this one. The view's spectacular. I would have hated to have just kind of whizzed right by it. Yeah, that seems all right. I don't need very long here if I'm going to continue on to the one in Oregon. And I don't need anything. I've eaten. I've done all the things that my body requires of me. We are regenerating energy as we go back down the hill, so it's a fairly steep decline. The car is, I'm going about 55, I'm going at the speed limit, and at that speed the car is falling faster. Here comes the cloud. The car is, if it was in neutral, it would be picking up speed, so it would be going faster than 55. And it's well within the realm of the regenerative braking to hold it at that speed without touching the physical brakes. And it means that the car's brakes last for a really long time as a result. We are at Grants Pass, Oregon. It is 6:21. It is dark. So I think I'm going to try for the Doubletree by Hilton in Salem, Oregon. And I'm going to give him a call.
Good evening. Thank you for calling Salem Doubletree. This is Devin at the front desk. How can I help you?
Hello, Devin. I'm looking to stay with you tonight, and I am coming with a Tesla, and I wanted to check that the charger was working.
All right, chargers are working. Yes, sir.
Is there any way to reserve this slot?
I will go out and park my car in a slot so that when you get here, if for whatever reason people decide to eat up the spaces that don't have EVs, I'll be able to move my car.
You, sir, are a star. I really appreciate that. I will be getting there.
No problem.
I'll be getting there probably around 10 p.m. Thanks, Devon. Awesome. Okay. So that's not too late. That's an achievable destination in a single shot. It's a 3-hour drive. Muffin. So I bought banana muffins, but I kept 2 for myself, that's sufficient muffinage to get me to Salem, Oregon, where Devon will be keeping my spot free because he's a star. 5,000 miles. 1.5 megawatts. And a pretty decent average. Well, maybe that's a little high. Okay, that did not go according to plan. So, when I was speaking to the guy at we sort of failed to communicate that I didn't actually have a reservation. And so I get there, I'm super pleased about my consumption, only to find out that they don't have a room. I then kind of search around and there doesn't seem to be anything else in Salem. So now I'm heading to Portland Airport, which is an hour away. I'm going to have to do a quick supercharge to get me to the airport because I've got hardly any battery left, but it's not a big deal. There's a charger just north of Salem, supercharging at Woodburn, Oregon. There's not a lot here and none of it's open because it's 11 p.m. now. 40 minutes to the airport, 40 miles, and 10% battery, fully charge it overnight, and head off. It's 20 to 12. I don't feel too fatigued, so I guess this works out. And then done. We're done. This is it. This is last night on the road. Happy and sad about that. I think I'm really looking forward to going home. 9 days is a long time. But man, what a trip. What a trip. Yeah. See you in the morning. And I have my my Electric Warrior shirt on today. This is from the Formula E series. And if you follow Formula E, I do recommend it. All right, last day. We are starting from Portland. Because of the snafu last night, I ended up going to the airport hotel because I felt that would sort of get me a jump on the day. There's a little bit of traffic that I'm going to skip as a result of that. I got a completely full battery, and let's go. Let's go. Yoink. Portland to Vancouver, starting with 100% battery. I only need to stop for 15 minutes for charging in a 5-hour 25, in a 5.5 hours. So because it's mainly slow speeds, because of all the traffic, it doesn't think that I'm going to need to charge up until way past Seattle. Ow, that's really hot. So before I do battle with Seattle's traffic, I needed a break, and rather than doing what I normally do, or what you should normally do, which is to be plugged in whilst you're doing that, I instead decided to just kind of park in a regular spot like a normal person and go grab a coffee. And the reason that I wanted to do that is because I really want to test out to see whether this idea that this leg of this journey can be done to kind of see what the sort of maximum range of the car might be. And excuse the angles there. So I did something I don't normally do, which is that I didn't charge whilst I took a break. Just get the stuff out. Interestingly, whilst we have been parked, the car has recomputed its journey, and now it does indeed want us to stop one supercharger early before we begin the trip. So I guess that answers my question, that if you come to a stop, it will reevaluate your destination, and then in this case it's brought the charging forward by one stop. So there we go. We don't get to try and go all the way to Burlington, and we are indeed, the car wants us now to stop at Arlington. Still for 15 minutes. Of course, that's 15 minutes that I just took. And so had I charged for that, then we wouldn't have had any additional stops, and we probably could have done Vancouver in a single shot from south of Seattle. I am in the South Side Retail Park, which looks massive. Really smells of exhaust in here. I wish a higher percentage had electric cars. Then it would just smell of smugness. So we're north of Seattle. It's quite a bit north of Seattle now. It's 10:30. We did leave all the traffic behind. We did seem to go around it. We went down by the docks, past the industrial bit, through a new tunnel, and then onto a toll bridge, onto a toll road. I guess they'll send me a bill in the mail? I don't know how that works. And we're going kind of smoothly. We will be at the supercharger stop that it wants us to stop for just 15 minutes for in about 30 minutes. So I've decided to set myself a charge challenge, and I'm going to set the destination for the original supercharger, which is Burlington, which is further on from Arlington. So it reckons it's going to get there with kind of 5 or 6%. I have an out, because you always need an out, which is that we still haven't passed Arlington yet. But I think it would be interesting to see if we can make Burlington. If I'm crawling along with my hazards flashing. I mean, it wouldn't be a challenge if it wasn't challenging. But I am curious as to whether we could make Burlington from Portland in a single charge. Okay, so we just went past the turn-off for the Arlington supercharger. So that means I'm very committed now to making the Burlington supercharger as originally planned all the way back in Portland. It's currently reckoning 5%. I've got 12% right now. It's not yelling at me to stay below 65. So I am assuming at this point, once you're so close to the target, that its prediction is accurate. Maybe it'll drop another 1 or 2%, and we'll come in with just 3%. But regardless, we are going to make it. I've generally been in the kind of the middle to right lanes. I haven't been on the left lane going super fast, and just kind of a couple of car lengths behind somebody going at 60, 65. The speed limit's 70. One thing I will say though, with a red battery and only a few percent remaining, you really don't want to miss your exit, because the amount of distance that you would need to travel to go up and come back, I mean, it depends. It's on the northern outskirts of the town, so it might actually be quite a bit before the next exit. Exit 232. We're going going to make 232. So as you can see, you get a fun set of warnings when you get down to not much juice, but we totally made it. It's on the Cedro Woolly turnoff, and what we should now get is a significant charge rate because the battery is so low. 400 miles per charging hour, so 6 minutes, 40 miles, 12 minutes, 80 miles. We are 75 miles from home. There's 30 miles in the tank already. So I got 12 minutes. There's a washroom that way. Don't you go changing. Okay, so looking at the route from here to Portland Airport, it reckons 240 miles. And we did it in kind of 98% to, I've already forgotten, 6%, 4%. So that is 92% of the battery, 240 miles. Yeah, actually that lines up with what I was thinking before, that if you do a kind of a slower with traffic speeds, that 250 miles on a rainy, cold day with kind of real world conditions, that's an achievable range without having to crawl along. But it still kind of points to, I mean, that's 4 hours and 20 minutes without taking a break. You're not going to do that. And we passed dozens and dozens of chargers. If you are the kind of person who does a 4 hour, 20-minute leg without shifting in your seat and needing to go to the bathroom, tell us your secret. Is it do you not drink liquids? Do you prepare like emotionally to make that possible? I can't. I would need to stop at least once and then charge when you stop, and you'll never skip a beat. I know that's a recurring theme that I keep saying over and over, but so many people on sort of saying, oh, you have to wait for it to charge. No. It has to wait for you to finish peeing is what actually happens. Yeah. All right, that's it. Time to go. Last charge of the trip. We got enough to get home. That was pretty quick. That looked like a bunch of electric cars heading north, and I wonder if they are headed for... There is a Honda dealer in the lower mainland that does a roaring trade, bringing off-lease EVs up from the US, naturalizing them to Canada and selling them off to Canadians for pretty good prices. And it's a really good entry into the EV world, is to get a used EV that has come off-lease from the US. And they know their stuff, and it's interesting that it seems to be Honda dealers are kind of specializing in this, where Honda doesn't really have a solid EV story yet, but the dealers are very sensitive to what their customers are asking for. And so when customer after customer comes in and says, can I buy an EV? And the Honda dealership just has to look at their product portfolio from the manufacturer and say, nope, we can't offer you that. Then pivoting and offering used vehicles is a really smart choice from the dealer's perspective. Honda EVs are coming soon. My sweet, sweet city of Vancouver. I've been living here for about 15 years now, and I love it. I really do. I think that... That's how you know you're in Vancouver. I think that it's a really good city for not having too much of a car-dominant culture. They had a big plan for this huge freeway network, and they didn't build it. They only built a couple of bits of it, and I'm really glad they didn't. It's not a fast city to move around in a car, but it's a very free city to move around in not by a car. And that's what I love about it. Good to be home. back in sunny Vancouver. It's been about a week since I got back. What I kind of set out to do with this trip was to do just a huge long road trip. You see the comments that electrics can't do long distances. They can. It helps that it's a Tesla with a Tesla network, but the other networks are coming up fast. I saw lots of different networks. I saw ChargePoint, I saw Electrify America. The trip totals was over 5,000 miles, 8,000 kilometers. It was interesting pricing up the supercharging against what GasBuddy reckons you would have paid for that trip. It was quite close, actually. Would a gasoline car have been faster? A little, maybe half a day. But if you're really in a hurry, fly. Drive whatever car you've got to the airport, get on a plane, and head on out. I could have done it in under a day and saved several $100s in hotel bills. But, you know, where's the fun in that? And so then it comes to this point where if you're on a road trip, you don't want to hammer it. You don't want to go crazy fast. And so the charging stops just become part of the trip. You don't particularly notice them because you still got to do all your other things. So I hope you enjoyed the journey. Thanks for coming along with me. And we'll find out what happens next.